Jaja, the baby warlord. Once upon a time, within the tall mountains of West Africa, lived the small village of Bantu. The villagers lived simple lives connected to the land and their ancestors. For generations, a prophecy whispered through the village: a child will be born, destined to become the reincarnation of a powerful warrior god to protect the village from impending doom. One stormy night, the village was plunged into darkness as a fierce thunderstorm rolled in. Lightning split the sky and thunder roared like the anger of the gods. The villagers were so afraid and called together in their huts, praying for safety. In a modest hut at the edge of the village, Jamba and Ajo, a humble farming couple, were expecting their first child. Ajo's labor pain began just as the storm reached its peak. As Ajo labored, a strange phenomenon occurred. A bolt of lightning struck the old Iroko tree at the center of the village, causing it to glow with an earthworthy light. The tree, considered sacred by the villagers, began to burn with deep resonant energy. The village seer Kuku, who lived near the tree, sensed something extraordinary was happening. She rushed to the tree, her heart pounding with anticipation. As Kuku approached the glowing Iroko tree, she heard a voice carried on the wind. Kuku, the time has come. The child is being born tonight. The voice, deep and resonant, seemed to come from the tree itself. Kuku understood immediately. She knew she had to be at Jamba and Ajo's hut. She gathered her ceremonial items and hurried through the village, storm raging around her. Inside the hut, the air was thick with tension and expectancy. Jamba held Ajo's hands, whispering soothing words as the village midwife, Mama Zara, assisted with the birth. Suddenly, the hut was filled with a warm golden light, and a gentle melodic sound filled the air. Ajo gave one final push and Jaja was born. As Jaja took his first breath, the storm outside abruptly ceased. The air became still and the golden light intensified, casting a radiant glow over the newborn. Jaja's eyes, unusually bright and knowing for a newborn, seemed to hold the wisdom of the ages. Mama Zara, trembling with awe, wrapped Jaja in a blanket and handed him to Ajo. At that moment, Kuku entered the hut, her eyes wide with wonder. She had been drawn to the hut by the same force that had caused the old Iroko tree to glow. Seeing the newborn Jaja, she fell on her knees, her voice trembling as she spoke. "This child is special," she whispered. "He is the one prophecy spoke of." Meanwhile, outside the hut, villagers gathered around the old Iroko tree, marveling at its glow. The elders, led by Kuku, approached the tree with reverence. As they touched its trunk, they felt a surge of energy, and a voice echoed in their minds: "The child has been born. He is the warrior god reincarnate, sent to protect this village. Guard him well, for dark forces will seek to destroy him." Kuku bowed deeply, understanding the gravity of the message. She returned to the hut and relayed the divine encounter with Jamba and Ajo. "This child," she said, "is blessed by the gods. He will bring great changes to our village, but his path will not be easy. You must protect him with all your strength." Jamba and Ajo listened intently as Kuku shared the prophecy and the instruction given by the gods. Jaja's hair will remain uncut. He will live a life of purity. He must practice solitude and meditation to renew his strength. As Jaja grew, his extraordinary abilities became evident. By the age of 3, he could lift heavy objects that even grown men struggled with. At 5, he could outrun the fastest hunters in the village. His wisdom, far beyond his years, amazed everyone. The villagers, though in awe of his power, were also protective of him, knowing this great destiny has great things to do. One fateful day, when Jaja was just a toddler, a band of ruthless mercenaries sneaked into the village under the cover of the night. They had heard whispers of a special child and were determined to eliminate him. However, Jaja's keen senses alerted him to their presence. Though only 3, they managed to escape through the dense forest, guided by an unseen force. The village was in chaos as the mercenaries searched every hut, but Jaja was safe. He found refuge in a cave where the spirit of the forest protected him until the danger passed. The mercenaries left defeated and confused, unable to find the boy they sought. As Jaja grew older, his feats became legendary. At the age of 10, he confronted a fierce tiger that had been terrorizing the village. While others cowered in fear, Jaja stood firm. With a strength and a bravery that bended his years, he fought the beast and emerged victorious. The villagers, in awe of his courage, began to see him as their protector. Jaja's wisdom was another marvel. Elders would come to him for advice, and his words, filled with wisdom and knowledge of the gods, would guide them through their troubles. He spoke of unity, strength, and the power of belief, inspiring all who listened. But Jaja's destiny was not just to protect his village. As he reached his teenage years, news came of a great threat. Invaders from a distant land were marching towards the kingdom, leaving a trail of destruction at their wake. These were no ordinary invaders. They were cruel, ruthless, and their numbers were overwhelming. The king of the land, hearing of Jaja's extraordinary abilities, summoned him. Jaja, now a young man, accepted the call without hesitation. He knew this was the purpose he had been born for. With a heart full of courage and determination, he led the village warriors to face the invaders. The battles that followed were fierce and brutal. Jaja fought with the strength of 100 men, his movements swift and precise. The villagers, inspired by his bravery, fought alongside him with newfound courage. Jaja's leadership turned the tide in many battles, and his wisdom helped devise strategies that outwitted the invaders time and again. Over time, the fame of Jaja spread far and wide. Other kingdoms, hearing of his prowess, sought his help. Jaja became a hired warrior, leading troops into fierce battles against rival kingdoms. His success on the battlefield brought him success and wealth. He became very rich. However, this new life of constant war began to distract him from his primary mission. One day, in the midst of a heated battle, a message came to Jaja that chilled his heart. The family he had cared about so much had been taken captive by Kongora, a terrible, fierce warrior from another kingdom. Kongora was the very same man who hunted Jaja since he was a toddler. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Jaja left the war front immediately, determined to save his family. Jaja traveled for days, pushing his body to the limits. Exhausted, he remembered the discipline and routine of solitude and meditation he had been imparted to by his parents. Finding a quiet place, he sat down and entered a deep state of meditation. The spirits hovered around him, strengthening him and imparting strategies to deal with complex situations. Renewed and invigorated, Jaja continued his journey until he reached Bakari Kingdom, where his family was being held hostage. But on his arrival, he was greeted by the beautiful women of the kingdom who had been instructed to lure him. They showered him with gold and gifts, and the king, King Kaji, invited Jaja to his palace. King Kaji promised Jaja great powers and position, offering to make him his right man if he would join forces with him. He also promised to release Jaja's family, but Kaji had a wicked plan to assassinate Jaja that very night. That evening, during the lavish feast in his honor, Jaja sensed something amiss. The spirit whispered warnings to him, and his instinct told him to be on guard. As night fell, Jaja pretended to retire to his quarters, but he remained alert. His senses heightened. Just after midnight, a group of assassins crept into Jaja's room. Silently they moved, their weapons glinting in the moonlight. But Jaja was ready. With lightning speed, he disarmed the first attacker and used the fallen man's weapon to defend himself. The assassins were no match for Jaja's strength and skill. Within minutes, they lay defeated on the floor. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Jaja sent a secret signal to his warriors, who had been waiting outside the kingdom. They stormed the palace, overwhelming the guards, and took control. Jaja confronted King Kaji. "Kaji, your deceit ends tonight," Jaja declared, his voice echoing through the hall. "Release my family or face the consequences." Seeing his plan fail, King Kaji tried to flee, but Jaja was too quick. With his swift and decisive blow, Jaja captured the king and freed his family along with other captives held in the dungeons. The battle that ensued outside the palace was fierce. Jaja led his warriors with unparalleled courage, and their combined strength soon overwhelmed the Bakari kingdom's forces. The kingdom fell and Jaja emerged victorious. News of Jaja's triumph spread throughout the land. His name became synonymous with bravery and justice, and the mere mention of him struck fear in the heart of wrongdoers. The villagers celebrated his return, and Jaja's legend grew even more. Despite his wealth and power, Jaja remained humble. He continued to guide and protect his village, always remembering the purpose for which he was born. His story became a legend, a tale of bravery, wisdom, and the power of the human spirit. The village prospered under his watch, and the kingdom remained safe from harm. Jaja's exploit didn't stop with the fall of the Bakari kingdom. Words of his bravery reached far and wide, and he was invited by other kingdoms to share his wisdom and skill. Wherever he went, he inspired hope and courage. He taught other warriors the importance of discipline, strategy, and the power of meditation. His fame grew, and so did his influence. However, Jaja never forgot his root or his primary mission. He knew that peace in the land depended on unity among the tribes. He worked tirelessly to broker peace treaties and resolve conflicts, always emphasizing the common good over individual gains. Years passed and Jaja continued to be a beacon of light and hope. He married and had children, instilling in them the same values and wisdom that had guided him. His family became a symbol of strength and unity in the kingdom. One day, as he sat in meditation beneath the sacred Iroko tree, now much older and wiser, Jaja felt a familiar presence. The spirit of the ancestors spoke to him once again. Jaja, your work is not yet done. There are still challenges ahead, but you have prepared the way for the future generations. Your legacy will live on in their hearts. With renewed purpose, Jaja stood and looked out over the village that had once been his only world. He saw the smiling faces of his people, friends, and the countless people whose lives he had touched. He knew that the warrior God's spirit will continue to guide and protect them. And so, the legend of Jaja, the warrior God reborn. The story was told and retold by the villagers, becoming a timeless tale of courage, wisdom, and enduring power of the human spirit. The kingdom flourished in peace and prosperity, forever grateful to the boy who had been born in a stormy night, destined to change their world forever. The end.